Thank you, everyone, for being here. Podcast number 5, Baztec Fishing Podcast number 5. We have some very, very special guests on the podcast today, as you can see, these lovely ladies. We're going to introduce them here in a second. We're going to have you ladies introduce yourselves. First, we're just going to, I'm Ray Ruiz, founder of Baztec, and my co host.
Diana Cobbs.
Yes, and we are the Baztec Fishing Podcast. Shout out, first of all, what makes this happen, our supporters, Shell's Brewing Company, a big supporter of ours. We're enjoying their beer. Cheers, everyone. Cheers. Salute, salute, salute. Absolutely. Mm. So, um, another big supporter of ours, one of my buddy who owns a real estate company, Kyle Burt Realty. You can see his information here. He's awesome. He does a lot of residential, commercial real estate. So he's a big supporter of ours, and he works a lot in the community. He'll probably be out at the women's event, which I don't want to give away right now, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. And our newest sponsor, right behind you, ladies, Blackfish. Yes, Blackfish. Great, great brand, great stuff. We're very blessed to have them as our sponsor and supporter. And real quick, we do have an event coming up. We'll talk about the event that you ladies have with the organization. Um, Baztec Fishing has a event on April 13th, which is on a Saturday, Lake Harriet from 1 to 3 p.m. So for folks that want to come out, come fishing, no license needed, no equipment. If you speak Spanish or any kind of language, don't matter. We have folks that actually interpret or speak your native language. So come out and join us. It'll be a lot of fun, and we'll be probably catching a lot of bluegills and crappies. They usually come up, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So come out to that. Okay, now that's out of the way. We have the ladies of Wham today. Thank you so much for being here. It's an honor. I want to just have you ladies introduce yourselves, and who wants to go first?
Feel free. Okay.
All right. So, your name, where you grew up, how you got started fishing, and yeah, and then how you got involved with Wham. Because I have some questions for both of you ladies about Wham.
Yeah.
So yeah, so please.
All right. Well, my name is Michelle Morey, and I'm president of Women Eaglers of Minnesota. Grew up in Bloomington, Minnesota. We had a cabin in Cambridge. And so I'd go up there with my family and my grandparents, and me and my dad and grandpa would troll for northerns, red eyes and daredevils.
That's
just
it.
talking about spoons.
All day long. All day
Yeah.
long. All day long.
Big northern. But
Walleye.
that was back. That lake we just mostly caught pike. My grandparents ate all of them. They loved it.
That's good stuff.
Yeah,
Cool.
cleaned them. Then I went to college. I think some people just kind of have a passion for fishing or the bug or the fever, and I had it. But then I, didn't have a lot of access to fishing then for a little bit. And then I met my husband, and he grew up in Austin, Minnesota, which is like one of the counties that barely have any lakes.
Right. Yeah. A lot of good pheasant hunting. A lot of prairie, but no fishing. Well, very limited fishing. Yeah. Yes.
And then we started to get into it, got a boat, kind of learned together. And then we had kids, so that really cuts into your fishing time. But we'd still fish. I probably at that point is raising the kids. I probably fished, honestly, 4 weekends a year. That was it.
Okay.
And it was kind of like June when it was nice, and then maybe close to August, and then the fishing season was over. And then my kids got late into high school and they were out of sports. And so we do live on a lake. And so I'd fish off the dock. And one day it was like one of those crazy days where I caught like a rock bass and I caught a huge dogfish. And it was just like, it was kind of magical. And it was like, I think I'm going to track the fishing and see if there's any patterns or, what kind of caused this today. And that's when it just
took
fueled
over.
It just went crazy. I Googled that happened for a little bit where I would count my fish, how many fish I caught each year. I kept a diary. I mean,
Sure.
it was crazy. And then I Googled to look for a women's a group that had all women's tournaments. And I found Women Anglers in Minnesota. And what interested me the most was their Master Angler program, which is a pin awarded for trophy size fish and multi species. And that's really what got me in thick with women anglers. And I didn't even do a tournament for the first 2 or 3 years. I never
Oh,
even
really?
did the open water tournament. I just focused on that. And because my skill set wasn't that great with towing a boat, I hadn't towed a boat on my own at that point. I'd certainly driven a boat, but that's what I think, what I like. We talked about this, it kind of pushes
Mhm.
you. These things push you into learning new skill sets.
Absolutely.
So then I offered to run the Master Angler program after a year. And then that turned into secretary and then the president, and here we are today.
Awesome. For folks out in the community that are watching this, a lot of the women are watching this. What does WHAM mean? And tell us a little bit about how that got started. The acronym. I'm terrible with acronyms.
Oh, yeah.
So
Right.
what does the WAM mean?
Yeah. So it's Women Anglers in Minnesota.
Okay.
We're a nonprofit that supports women and kids in the sport of fishing. So we've been around for 47 years now. And we're really proud that last year we gave $25,000 back to the fishing community. This year we're on target to give 30,000. So we support a lot of um, community activities, high school fishing teams, student angler tournament trail. Minfish is a big organization that we
Yeah.
like to support.
Mhm.
They're a voice in the community for anglers. And I think it's super cool how it got started. So this is in 1977. There was a muskie tournament with 5 women in a muskie tournament in 1977.
Wow.
Wow.
I think it would be hard pressed to find 5 women in a
Now.
muskie
Absolutely.
tournament now.
Yeah.
And they got together and wondered if there were other women out there like themselves and wanted to create a peer group. Because one thing that's interesting is most people, I mean, fishing is such a big part of the Minnesota culture, but for men, you most likely know another guy in your network that likes to
Sure.
fish. For
Right.
women, not necessarily. Like when my kind of fever peaked and I was wanting to fish more than my husband, I was fishing with all my friends' husbands, which was fine. Everyone was fine with it, but it's nice to have a peer group of women. And for a lot of women, it's the first time they've met other women who have the same passion and they really find a sense of community with women anglers.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. All right.
She does
Wow,
such a
Chris.
good job explaining that.
Yeah. Pressure's off. Pressure's off. So.
Lori, so I grew up going to my grandma and grandpa's cabin up in Harris on Fish Lake, and every weekend we'd go up there and stay. And there was two families that really went up there a tremendous amount. We'd sleep on the floor, we'd tent, we did everything, but we always would fish that lake. And I remember cane pole fishing with 15 people on a pontoon, and you were, oh yeah, it was just awesome. And but one thing, my brothers, I had 3 brothers and 3 sisters, and my dad would take my brothers fishing, and I never got to go. So, I grew up fishing my entire life. I lived on a lake for a few years up in Scandia and fished there and go to my friends' cabins and fish all the time. But then when I have a couple of really good friends that have been in Wham for quite some time, won the tournaments and
Dar and
Dar and Katie,
yeah.
and they kept on, bugging me. Why don't you join? Do the open water tournament. Do the open water tournament. I never had a fishing boat that I could do this with, and
Sure.
I tried multiple times, and then all of a sudden I saw they had a fall trip up to Leech Lake, and Leech Lake was one of the lakes that my dad and brothers would go all the time. And I lost my dad quite a while ago, but I'm like, I'm going to that. I'm going to Leech Lake. So I recruited a couple of friends of mine, and we went up there and rented a boat, and it was awesome. And then ended up buying a boat after that.
Really? That is so cool. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
What's also cool is we used to play 20 some years ago, like football against each other. Yeah.
Wow.
So we knew each other from that. Like, friends,
we were competitors, and
and then
yeah.
I saw her on the truck, and then we reconnected, and then
Yeah. I had
be
no idea she
secretary.
was the president. And so then, we got talking on the trip, and we just had a really good time up at Leech Lake. And so then I bought a boat, and of course, then I did the open water tournaments. And then, the first year I joined, she asked me to be secretary, and I said, well, yeah, I would love to, because I want to, start giving back.
Sure.
And now I'm like, my wife is like, hey, you know what? Could you just not talk about fishing for a day? And that's hard. I mean, so anyway, yeah, that's hard.
But yet you're going to teach her how to back up the boat so you can
I
go
am.
fishing more.
And she actually does enjoy fishing. She's doing the open water tournament with me this
Okay.
year, and I'm super excited because we just click really well.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she's going to learn how to back up a trailer without my help. I cannot teach her. And then we're going to do the open water tournament together, and
Nice.
hopefully some other things.
You're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Say
it's
that.
just a commitment on camera.
No. It's not a commitment on camera. I will commit to the Wham Slam challenge.
Do you know I've signed up for the Wham Slam challenge since I've been a member 3 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've put in like maybe 2 fish because I just don't. I enjoy fishing.
Yeah.
I don't fish to do those types of things. And so now this year I'm gonna try to remember
Let's
to
do
put my
that.
fish in the Wham Slam.
I
It's
need
official year.
I need a board to measure them.
We have a board
I don't
for
have
you.
one of those.
Yes,
Yeah.
we'll get you a board.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
don't have one of those yet. So that was on my list of things to do in school one day.
Oh,
I got a couple extra ones I'll give you.
Perfect.
Wow.
Yeah, the Wham Slam.
Yeah,
You
let's
can explain that.
Yeah, let's talk
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
So it's a multi-species challenge, we call it. So it kind of has something for everybody. So we have 16 or 17 species that we have in Minnesota, which I think we're so fortunate to live in a state that offers so many species.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a point-based system. For each species, let's say sunfish, if you catch an 8-inch sunfish, you get 1 point, 9-inch 2 points, 10-inch 3. You only get your best sunfish for the year.
Mm-hmm.
But then we give away prizes. So once you get 5 points, you're eligible for a prize, 10, 20, 30, and then we give away $2,000 in cash for the top 5 competitors. So what I've seen really, in my opinion, is an explosion of women trying to go out and catch catfish or trout or these species that you don't realize we have here or think to go fish for, but it gets you, I like to say, out of your fishing rut. A lot of times people end up fishing the same lake, the same species, the same way.
Same technique. Yeah.
So I think the women's skill levels have really, really grown. And I know sometimes when people think of it as the competitive side, but I really have seen the growth in women and their skill set.
And I'm learning more about that, right? Because I do need to get out of my.
Because you're a walleye angler.
Well, I absolutely love pan fishing too.
Yeah.
That's what I grew up on. I used to throw a bobber out when I had to cut the grass for my dog, and Soda would just like literally key on that bobber, and I would do anything. She wouldn't move. Like, so I had a fishing dog too.
Really?
No, she would get excited, but yeah.
Train her to bark. Oh, that
So
guy
I'm
worked.
good with
Yeah. It's like your own little open water tip up.
Yeah. It's interesting. Are you ladies familiar with who Rick Clunn is?
Mm-mm.
The great Rick Clunn. He's Bassmaster. He's won the Bassmaster. I think he won it when I was born in '79. Can't believe that. But he's he's like the best. If you can have anybody's IQ when it comes to fishing,
Yeah.
that's the guy. He's like almost 80, and he's like kicking people's asses still.
Yeah.
Wow.
These young dudes, and they're terrified of him because he's like Yoda.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't say much or anything, but something that I learned from the great Rick Clunn, and I try to teach our pro staff this. In order to get good at a technique, you literally have to do the following. And this comes from all credit to Rick Clunn. I love you, man. You're the GOAT.
You say you only bring one pole with you,
When-
and you
yeah.
use that technique the
The
whole
whole
time.
That's it. You bring another backup in case it breaks. So like for me, I got really good at cranking. because everyone was like, I get stuck on the weeds,
Yeah.
and I'm like, but I used to watch these guys just
What's the key to being a good cranker?
is sucking at it for a long time. Yeah, that's it. That's the key. Uh, it'd be yeah, if I in the grass, it could unless there's a lot of components, but the main thing is just saying I'm going to do 8 hours. That's all I'm doing, and getting in the mind in your mind
Yeah.
saying that's all I'm doing,
Yeah.
and bringing extra baits because pike will hit your crankbait and it'll cut you off.
Yeah.
So line comes off. So you're like, I'm going to bring a DT6 and a shallow run. That's it. That's all I'm bringing.
Okay.
Two rods.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
And you're just and that's all you have. It's like if a fighter broke his hand,
Right.
in a fight. Well, no one's gonna know. He or she's gonna know,
Yeah.
but they're still gonna go with one hand. They're going, I don't care. I'm gonna pretend I still. So in order to get good, and it happened. It really interesting. I did it, and it didn't take very long for me to be like, man, I figured it out right away in the first day, but within a week or a month, I was like, I got better exponentially. Not like the best. I still was terrible,
I doubt it.
but I started learning things, and I wasn't afraid anymore. I was like, oh, let's just go.
That's like
You
you
know?
keeping data.
Right.
Fish you
Right.
caught when.
Yes,
You're like,
yes,
you
yes.
keep data.
One of the
Yeah.
schools I went to last year, I did the Johnny Candle one at Vermilion Dam Lodge, and it was awesome. But one of the things I did learn is documentation of what you catch, where you catch it, how you caught it,
Mm-hmm.
the water temperature, everything.
Moon phase, grass, all that stuff. Yeah,
Absolutely not. I mean, that was last end of September, so I
yeah.
haven't had the boat
So
out
it's a
there.
good goal for this.
It's a good goal for the summer to really, make that mental note to take some notes and
You know what I
figure that
do
out.
is I have a private Facebook album, so
Mm.
only I can see it.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So that people don't know how crazy I am. But all the pictures go in there with data, and it's kind of a really fun look back too on who I fished with for the years. But my husband will be like, "When were we catching crappies last year? When was this?
And you're like, hold
When did
on,
this happen?" And
right?
then it'd be-
That's
Mm,
interesting.
yeah,
that's cool.
Interesting.
yeah.
That's
Then
cool.
you could just take a picture of like your screen
Yeah.
because it shows you the temperature of and it shows you the date, and it shows you the temperature of the water and the temperature of the air that day.
Yeah,
That's a really
Yeah.
good idea.
And then pair it with all the fish you caught
Yeah.
that day.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't get
With
I
your
don't
rod.
get
The only that'll change that I recommend and that's a great idea, where the wind came out of, and if it was a directional change in the wind, because
So
that
you
front.
screenshot your weather app
Well,
then
yeah,
too.
yeah, absolutely. Because that changes. You're out there, and all of a sudden, that's weird. All of a sudden, the front comes in. I was on the lake with my dad. I was on up in Nisswa. We're on North. What is it? North Long Lake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That's a great lake, man. It's a beautiful lake. And man, we were. Yeah. Well, let's go up there. It'd be fun. But I remember it started getting a little like dark, and my dad's like, "Vaya a ver," and that means in Spanish. He started yelling at me, it's gonna
It's
rain,
gonna
it's gonna
rain.
rain, it's gonna rain. And I'm like, I just ignored him. I kept flipping the jig. Yeah, it's fine. You know how you just yeah someone. Yeah, it will be fine. Because you don't want to leave,
No, that's prime time.
man.
You
Man, as soon as my dad threw that jig, dunk, threw my jig, dunk, boom, boom, double. I was like, get the net, and he was pulling one in, and I was like, never mind, flipping bass in, and it was just for like 30 minutes every cast.
Was that last year?
This was 2 years ago.
2 years
Yeah, about 2 years ago. But that's a really good idea, and documentation is great.
Yeah.
I want to get to some questions because as a consumer, if I'm a woman, I'm watching listening to this podcast, I'm asking myself, okay, man, I've never fished before. I would feel intimidated, but then I feel less intimidated because there's women. It's specifically for women. What is the main benefit, or what are the benefits of joining WAM? If either one of you ladies want to join,
you want
or like
you
go
want
with
to do it
first.
for me?
For me, like a few of the benefits is like there's some really incredible people that are very successful, fishing and outside of
Sure.
fishing,
Mhm.
right?
Hmm.
And so you just get a different perspective on what they're doing versus what you're doing. And a few other things that, we have a great discount program too. So if you do need
Talk
to
about
buy,
that. Talk about that. Because Deanna tells me all about it. And I'm like, can I join? Like, can I join? Yeah, please. It's please.
so I'm obsessed with fishing and I'm obsessed with buying things. So
You're not the only one here.
Trust me, man. I don't have that color. Ooh, that's new. Yeah.
favorite places to go is Joe's Sporting Goods
Yeah.
because they're one of our
You
discount.
know Doug Staley. Big shout out to them. They're supporting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doug.
In the door. Yeah.
Hey, Lori, how you doing?
Yeah, I think that fine. But there's a whole bunch of different companies that we have great discount. I just bought
Blackfish is one.
Blackfish. I have multiple Blackfish jackets,
Me too.
and I love every one of them. My wife steals them.
Does your wife wear your stuff? She tell her, hey, I got a discount. But she wears it. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They're very nice. Yeah.
And outdoors. I mean, I just bought a battery and,
Yeah.
got
Lithium battery.
10% discount on that. And I love it. I mean, so they support us and we support them. And so it's kind of a
Mutual beneficial kind of deal. Yeah.
Well, first of all, it's a $30 per year is the membership fee.
Yeah.
Which is
So
you made
So discounts, I think that's like an extra benefit. The $30, it's free to veterans. We've got a youth program that starts from 8 to 16. That's $15 because we really want to get these kids fishing sooner. And I know we've been talking a lot about the Master Angler program and the competition, but we're big on education, which I think we'll get to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trips, like you mentioned, we do a fall trip and a winter trip.
And you do trips at a discounted rate.
Yeah, yes, the
I
trips.
mean, that's big.
Exactly. Yeah, the trips are at a discounted rate. We'll do speaker circuits, virtually. There's just, I think the benefits are so strong. And I think one of the biggest benefits too is we have a private Facebook page. And so you're able to ask questions and feel comfortable.
Right.
You don't get judged by anybody.
Yes,
right.
Everyone's there to just help.
Yes.
The online space, I'm ashamed sometimes when I see men really like shame women on there. Oh, your boyfriend caught that, or I don't. It is a family podcast, so I could say a lot of words that I don't want to right now. But these jerks, I'm like, dude, be cool, man, be nice, like these are legitimate anglers. These ladies get after it.
Anything.
Yeah, man, it's like.
Be patient.
Yeah, but and I'm glad that there's a space. WAN creates this inclusiveness, this safe space for women to like if they felt insecure about asking a question, honey, don't no. This is the space. It's okay. Like we were all there.
Right.
We were all of us here.
Still there.
Yeah.
People will also post and say we've got one woman, she's fantastic, Elena. She loves sturgeon fishing. She posts all the time. I've got an open seat.
It's a different kind of fishing. That is a different kind of fishing, man. Yeah, for sure.
So
I can get that. Oh no, you still.
I think even it's a safety element for women to be able to post.
Yes.
Fish with somebody they've never met before, have it be another woman.
Right.
I will tell you that was a big struggle for me, like because I'm shy, and
You are?
you would think that I'm not, but I totally am. But recently I met a couple people from Wham, and I'm like, okay, well, yeah, let's do a little trip up ice fishing. Stayed in a hotel together. Never met them.
Never met these gals.
And and it was really fun, and that was probably really helpful for me to get more out there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, you've done great.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
It's kind of really cool to see the progress. I mean, to think that when you came up to that trip at Leech Lake, that was only 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
That you've bought your own boat, you can trailer it, you can even parallel park it.
Yeah.
I knew how to trailer before that though, so
Okay.
But
she got her electronics. She's got Hummingbird with the forward-facing sonar. You know how to read that really well.
Yep.
So you just end up learning from other women in the group.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So these are great benefits. Again, because I know that the audience, other women are going to listen to this podcast and ask, man, what, what are the benefits? And this is great. So we appreciate that. So $30 to join.
Yeah.
You can join anytime.
Yeah.
And
$30 a year.
$30 a year. And can we talk a little bit about besides the benefits, which are wonderful. And again, Deanna talks about them all the time about the benefits.
I was at the St. Paul Ice Show and somebody told me about it. They're
Yeah.
like, you have to go upstairs. And I was like, wait, there's an upstairs? And then I had to find my way there. But, now I'll never go back.
When
It's
did
great
you sign
people.
up?
Right after the St. Paul Ice
This
Show.
past year?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, we get a lot of women at the St. Paul Ice Show. That's one other thing is I did not ice fish before I joined Women Anglers. And I didn't realize I was really surprised at how many women did like to ice fish when I joined. Our membership in 2018 ran around 150 to 200. Then they had an ice fishing tournament, the very first one, and our membership just exploded. And ice is the great equalizer.
Yes.
Anyone can
for
get out
sure.
there. You don't need an expensive boat. You need a fishing rod. You have access to any lake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's been kind of interesting. And I've since started ice fishing too.
I love it.
It's interesting because I was about to ask you, and you answered the question already, Michelle. How many women are in part of WAM? 150 to 200. So that's
No, that's
No,
what
that was-
that's excuse me. Oh my,
Yeah. So 50 to 200 to 11.
that's awesome.
So really, really exploded. It's we're the largest and longest standing women's fishing club in the country.
Wow, that is incredible. That's really really cool. Wow. Um, I want to talk a little bit about let's go back to the events. How many events total does WAM usually have in a calendar year?
In a calendar year.
Yeah.
God.
Boy, I'd say 15-ish. If you count, we also have volunteer opportunities. So we'll partner and we'll help like Buffalo Days or Detroit Lake Days or Alexandria Days. We've got those volunteer
Mm.
opportunities. We've got educational events, meetups, 2 tournaments, 2 trips. So I'm trying to, what am I missing?
Yeah, I think that's
And then the
good.
virtual. We do a virtual
Yeah.
ice queen that runs the entire month of January
Yeah.
across the ice belt. So
Any
that
their
one's pretty
party.
fun.
Ice
Halloween.
ice
Yeah, we do that.
ice
every year.
queen.
It's called the Ice Queen. Yeah, it's
Really? Wow.
You can fish anywhere in the ice belt.
Cool.
That's the nice thing about the virtual tournaments too. That's
Yes.
how we get people comfortable. We've got that. We've got the Wham Slam, which runs starting today until October 15th, and then we do a free member tournament. So that gets women comfortable sometimes. Like we say, we take women wherever they are, kind of in their fishing journey. So if you are mostly comfortable fishing with Ray, you can do a virtual tournament and fish the whole tournament with Ray. But then you start to kind of almost get to know women through the Facebook page and feel more comfortable. And then you show up to an event and you immediately meet some friends, and then that gets you to come to another event, and it just kind of ends up snowballing for women.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are there any social events like happy hours or like anything that bring the women together just to kind of like, hey, how you been? How's it going? How are your kids? How's your family? Anything like that? Any social
We do
events?
WHAM meetups,
Yeah.
Okay.
but it's not necessarily just happy hours. It's, fishing
Okay.
meetups.
Okay.
So that's the one that we did in Ottertail.
Okay.
And if you can come, great. If you can't, it's okay.
Cool.
But we had probably 20 some people show up.
Which one was that one?
The one that Liz did up on Ottertail,
Oh, yeah.
Montesikis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
It was
we
a good
do
turnout.
end up encouraging members because we have so many to create their own meetups, because the board we do have a board with 16 people,
Board of directors.
board of directors, but it is a lot, even 15 events
Mhm.
and everything that we do. It's a lot to manage. So we really encourage the members to take ownership and
And
a
create
happy
their
hour
own.
would be great too. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. No, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
It is
Wow,
awesome.
that's cool. And so back in 1977, 76, 77, when
Yeah.
you guys were established, was that always a nonprofit or did it start as a club? Did it convert into a nonprofit later on,
Yeah, that's a
Michelle?
good question. I don't know how quick. I think it was pretty quick.
Yeah, yeah.
Question of conservation and
Mhm.
Stewardship,
stewardship
yeah.
and teaching kids.
Education,
Yeah. Yeah. So
education.
set the pillars early for us.
I want to ask Lori, and then you can answer the same question. What is the what is the hardest? Because recruitment, retention, reactivation, right? The R3s. And when I was working at the DNR, they really stressed this. They talked about it a lot. What is the hardest? What is the most challenging thing, Lori, when it comes to recruiting women anglers? And
Um,
it could be. I mean, I'm sure it's a lot of things. Please, you have. I want to hear all about it because this is why we have these conversations to address these barriers and get women thinking like, oh man, I do feel like that, but someone is actually addressing it. Like, huh, I shouldn't be so like this, or oh, it's inclusive. Okay, but it's what are those challenges? You know, on the recruiting side for you ladies and
I'm
Wham.
gonna let Michelle
You
answer
want me to
that.
start?
Yeah.
Oh sure.
I would say I think sometimes there's a perception that you have to be a good angler to join, or that a lot of it is competition. And I will admit that a lot of it is competition, but I do think that that's how women learn, or that's not the only way. But we do offer a variety of educational opportunities. I really think there's something for everybody. And I think I spent my first year just on the private Facebook page. I don't think I went to a single thing. And so thinking that you have to jump in, and the best way to get the maximum out of Wham is to join and help teach a trailering class,
Right. And
Maybe.
but to jump right in. But it is okay to join, use that $30, watch, figure out what your comfort level is, learn a few things, use a discount. I mean, $30, and you can also look at it as is this is a donation because we're giving $30,000 back to the fishing
to
community.
a
So
nonprofit, right?
yeah,
To a
right.
nonprofit. Yeah.
And I would add for me, when I joined, when I why I didn't join earlier
Mm-hmm.
is I didn't have a boat. And
Mm.
not understanding that there's so many events that you don't need a boat for.
Mm.
Or Wham does a really good job of offering pontoons for like the open water
Yeah.
tournament. So if you don't have a boat, you can still participate,
And that's
but you
good.
can go on the pontoon and,
And compete or
and
whatever.
compete.
Yeah.
But for me, that was probably the reason why I didn't, because I didn't have a fishing boat. And to me, I'm like, well, I need a boat.
Right.
And I didn't have the
Barrier. Big
knowledge.
barrier.
Yeah.
Big barrier.
And I didn't have the knowledge of shore fishing. So, and I watch a lot of women, they're out shore fishing, catching these amazing fish. But for me, I didn't had no clue where to go.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good
So,
point.
yeah.
I think the
Thinking you need
boat
a
can
boat
be a
to-
good, a barrier. You
Yeah.
talked about living on the Facebook page, and that's kind of what I've been doing,
Yeah.
right? But it's amazing how friendly the community is
Yeah.
in there, and it's just, I mean, it's the sense that you get immediately is just, someone asks a question and someone answers it, or like 7 people answer it, which is great. But there's never any judgment, or someone's like, "Hey, I'm going fishing here this weekend. Any suggestions?"
Right.
And it's never a secret. Sometimes I feel like fishing can be a secret.
Right.
Oh, I
there's
caught this at this.
that.
Yeah.
Actually, it's
Mhm.
it's a play on the acronym, but the WAMLY, and I do really feel like, I mean, I've when I came into the group, I wasn't really looking for new friends, but I have
Mhm.
so many new friends that
Mhm.
I'm so happy that I have that it's just been a real blessing.
And you've done a great job as president.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yes.
Likewise,
I'm
as
sure.
secretary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to meeting some new people
Yeah.
at our trailing event that we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into that. Before we
Yeah.
get into that, I want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors for folks. We were talking about boats.
Yeah.
But what do you need? What most important thing you need in your boat is insurance.
Mm.
And our buddy Ricky Geislinger from Farmers Insurance is your guy. So if you're looking for home insurance, auto insurance, boat insurance, life insurance, whatever kind of insurance. Talk to Ricky G. That guy's really and he's not only is he's such a nice guy, and he comes up to our events and he literally teaches kids how to like hold a fish, and he puts bait on the hook. I mean, this guy's awesome. He's amazing. Oh no, he's you remember that movie Groundhog's Day?
Yeah.
Where like Bill Murray's walking, hey, how you doing? You bet you need more insurance. Not that. Rick's not that guy. He's not that guy, folks. Not that guy. He's the guy who comes in and like, hey, how you doing? And like, hey, welcome, and this is how you fish, and like, oh, here, let me help you with that. And they're like, hey, you see, you work for farmers? Yeah, yeah. What do you do? Oh, I'm sure, And then he starts talking to you about it. But that's why I love the guy. No, there's no pressure. It's just he's just having fun. So for folks that wanna we have his information here. Reach him at 763-515-7220. Give him a call. Tell him Ray Ruiz or folks from Baztec Fishing sent you, and he takes care of folks in the community. So, and you can see him at one of our events too. So yeah, thank you. I had to get a little segue. We had to give him a little shout out. So we were on the talking about this event. Wham has a lot of events, 15 events throughout the calendar year. But this is a really cool one, I think, because this is a big barrier for women. Laura, you nailed it. The boat, right? Boat is a big barrier. All right, what if we gave 1,100 women, let's just say you can magic wand, every woman gets a boat. They're like, oh shit, I don't know how to back it up. Pardon my French. It's a great problem, but I'm so like, you're like, oh god, that's another one. Where am I going to put it? I want to drive with a boat. I can, and it's like my mom. She is. I love my mother. She's amazing, but like she gets very nervous. She will. She doesn't like to drive. She's a really good driver, but my dad pulls this big old fifth wheel trailer, and she's if anything were to like my dad has he has vertigo. So sometimes he don't like we worry about him and stuff. And let's just say my dad is feeling dizzy. He'll have to pull up. My mom won't drive with the trailer. Yeah, she's like terrified.
Yeah.
And it's just going forward. It's very intimidating, So I can't even imagine like for folks that have never done that. You know what I mean? Men or women, you know. This is a really and we're gonna get into this. Let's dive deep into this. So Wham is having an event. Michelle, can you talk a little bit about you and Lori talk a little bit about the event we're going to have? I believe it's April
21st.
21st. Yes. Yeah, please.
Yeah, last year, so that was my first year
Yeah.
participating in the event.
Mm-hmm.
And so I brought my truck and trailer out there. And, when you have a big truck, it's intimidating as well. And so people would come. We had an event where they would come and they would get in your truck and back the boat up. And now you're a little nervous that these folks don't know how to necessarily.
Well, your seat, your mirrors, and yeah.
So, well, but I felt like we spent too much time in a parking lot and not in a real situation. And so I'm excited about this year where
because you're on
a boat.
Because you're on boat ramp. We'll be on a boat ramp this time.
We're going to be on a boat ramp, and we're going to have people bring their boats and their vehicles, and let's really truly teach them how to back a trailer into the water and how to pull out as well and park in the in the trailering parking lot. That's a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many challenges with launching your boat, especially if you're going to do it on your own as well.
Yes. Oh man.
That's a whole different.
It's a horse of a different color.
Yeah. Yes.
And this will just have no pressure. Sometimes you go to the boat launch and it's busy, right?
Right.
So there's like
Right.
4 people or 5 people waiting behind you, and you're like, oh man, I can't. Like,
Yeah, right.
It's
Exactly. Exactly.
Giving people there.
Yeah.
so are the people there. Yes. Oh.
They want to get in and out.
And then you got another boat in the water waiting to get out, and you're holding that person up too.
Yes.
I mean, it's all
Everything
from
up.
all directions.
That's such a great point. So they just say you get really good at backing up the boat. Good. Well, now you have boats behind you.
Mm-hmm.
So what? And then it goes back to etiquette. What is the etiquette, right?
Right.
What do? You put your boat in. There's folks that they'll back their boat in, put their power poles down. I seen a dude let his boat go. He just let it
Go
go,
with the
and then and then he'll just be like,
scares me.
he'll be
That
like,
scares me too.
hit a button, and the boat comes to him. And I was like, holy shit, that is cool. I'm like, that is awesome.
That's cool. A lot of people there.
Yes, yes.
She's done.
Has she?
Mm.
She's an expert back ripper and launcher, and
Mm.
that's fantastic.
So yeah, I have the Altera. Is it?
Yeah, with the super long. Oh, the one that goes, it collapses into it automatically. Yes. Yep.
And I have yet to use that launch in my boat because there's so many things that could go wrong, and I've
Yeah.
had some issues with my Minn Kota. So I'm like, there's no way in heck I'm gonna do that. So what if my remote dies, or
Yeah.
It's not
just
charged. Yeah.
too many things, and you're always in a panic,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get out of there as soon as possible. So I'm like, I just pull it around, and then
Hmm.
Yeah.
anyway.
She's got a Dorado too.
I got to
That's
drive.
one
Yeah, we got to
too,
drive. Yeah.
It's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another thing is, I'm not a great back rapper. I'll tow the boat. I can back up, but I am the one that drives the boat onto the trailer. My husband's the one that does the backing up and taking it off. So
Which
sometimes
is a
you
skill.
It's still a skill in its own because for folks out there that don't know, if you are in a boat and you're going straight and the wind is coming east or west on you, it takes you off the railroad track where you're supposed to get on. You know what I mean? It's really weird if there's boat skiers are making waves. That throws you off. If there's another boat,
I actually feel like usually it's the husband that drives it on, and
yes,
the woman that backs it in. But
yes.
because you fall into your rules and you don't practice. And so now with Wham, I wanted to take the boat. And so I got better at trailering it. And I would say okay at backing it in, but it still brings me a lot of anxiety. And the only way you get rid of that is by practicing.
By doing it.
Practicing, absolutely.
Yeah.
By doing it, yeah, absolutely. Deanna has, when we go out fishing, I'm like, I tell her, what do you want to do? You
Yeah.
want to do? They're both,
Right.
they're both not, they're both hard. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So she's like, I'll back it in, and I'm like, all right, or I'll drive the boat on the, and it's cool because like you'll have men out there and women, couples out there that are like, hey, I can't believe that lady just did that. That's kind of cool,
Yeah.
because it's normally, uh, you know, normally men. You see two guys, hey man, bring it on in, but you
Yeah.
never see two women or a woman and a guy doing it.
Or you see the guy beach the boat or whatever.
Yes,
Get
yep.
out, go get the trailer,
Yep.
back it up,
Yeah.
get in the
Yes.
boat, right? Or whoever it is.
Well,
Right?
it's like, that's my
Get
wife.
in the boat.
That's my wife.
It's me.
And sometimes the woman will pull the trailer and the boat forward, to the spot where the
Right.
clean it and do all that. But
I did start teaching her how to drive the boat onto the trailer because that was the easiest thing for me to teach her.
yeah,
And so yeah, she's
Gotten
better
better
at
at
that.
it.
She's learning that.
That's good though. That's at least that's a big
Yeah.
help. That's a big help. Yeah, she can,
Like I couldn't take, being on the river. Like
Mhm.
last year at the end of the year, I went on the river a couple times where that current. I mean, you're pulling in to
Then
put
it's-
that boat on the trailer at a 45-degree angle,
Yeah.
and you got to time it right too. So that's definitely something that would be
challenging.
challenging
Very.
for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
that's why I like to go to Boom Island because it's in this back area.
And speaking of that, we should definitely go out fishing on Boom Island.
Yeah, let's do it.
Chase some smallies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's great. I fish there all the time.
I mean,
fantastic.
In the backwater area. Yeah, there's some nice smallies there.
Huh.
you can have a 30, 40 fish, per person day.
Oh my God.
Like it's
All right,
it's
Okay.
loaded.
So
Sometimes they're like
I
two.
will,
Sometimes
Yeah.
I need to give Michelle kudos because never been smallmouth fishing in my life, and I went 3 times with you on Mille Lacs.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the Mecca. That's the Mecca.
But honest to God, that is the funnest fish to catch.
It's so much fun.
It is unbelievable.
I will say the only other fish that is rivals smallmouth are bluegills on crankbaits. Big bluegills, they're savages, man. They're just crazy. And I love just that my rod is doing this. I think it's gonna break. I'm like, oh my god. There's a oh man. Oh god. My dad. I love watching my dad fish because he plays with the fish.
Oh,
He enjoys the fight.
Yeah,
And I'm like, put that fish in the boat already. Don't yell at me. But it's the only time I yell at my dad. Oh, he drives me crazy. Hey, the fish in the boat already, man. Oh my god! But it's so much fun. We'll definitely make a trip out. It's not far. It's right up here,
yeah.
and it'll be so much fun. It's so much fun. It's downtown Minneapolis. It's downtown. Yeah, it's super cool. It's so much fun. One of Diana's, she's really good at some techniques that she really got really good at. And we work with her on her top water because she loves throwing top water. But one of the things about top water that was when she first started fishing some years ago, the Chapo.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, and the Chapo is good because of the design. It's shaped like a boat, and we're not going to get into the engineering of it. But whoever the engineer is, you're awesome. Great engineer, great engineering. But one of the things that Dana was doing, not incorrectly, but instinctively. I don't think people do things wrong fishing. I think they do things instinctively that are later incorrect.
Yeah.
So one of the things that a lot of people do, you have your snap, like the snap set.
Yeah.
So people don't realize the snap set, it literally will just bring the bait straight up.
Yeah.
So I would yell at everyone,
Yeah.
sweet,
Oh,
sweet, because I can hear it. I can hear the violence.
yeah.
Oh, woof. Or I can hear no violence by just doing this, connecting your elbow
Not
to
very
your
good at
rib.
that snap set, so I didn't do that.
But it's a reaction where it's just boom, and a lot of people do that. And when you get a sweep set, what happens is that bait rolls versus doing this. It literally will do this. It'll turn because you're turning that bait. If the line is coming this way and you snap set, it'll go disappears.
I always tell people don't set the hook. Don't
Yeah, yeah.
begin. Do not set the hook.
Yeah.
They hook themselves.
But it's hard because also, you just
Walleye fishing,
yes,
yes.
yes. And for walleyes, it's so like I have a violent swing, and I miss a lot of. Lori's like, but my buddy Steve, he'll like Steve Robertson, man. Shout out to my boy, man. He's an excellent walleye angler, and
Oh yeah, I can't do that.
he does. His hook set is over his head, but he waits. I'm like, what's this guy doing? It just waits and just and all of a sudden, and it's not like just like what do you call it, pool set. It's a nice pool set, and all of a sudden, whoop, and he doesn't miss fish, man. Never.
That is so funny. I was fishing with this woman that up at my walleye school, and I was out fishing. She was doing a drop shot.
For walleye?
Yeah.
That's a great technique.
Yeah.
Walleye.
And so we were both doing it.
Yeah.
And she got a bite, and she's like, and I'm like, you didn't set the hook. And she's like, well, no, I'm supposed to wait 10 seconds. So she waited 10 seconds, and sure enough, boom. And what am I doing? I'm missing fish because
Yeah. Wow. Like,
wait, 10 seconds. That's going to be really hard.
That's a lifetime.
There are days when you just, when there's no fish biting, or you're not throwing the bait.
Yes.
And you get a bite and you set that hook, and I'm like, did not too soon, clearly.
Well, especially when you don't get a bite for a while, you just swing hard. You just swing hard, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But smallmouth fishing is a lot of fun, and we'll definitely have to get out to that.
Fish the Mississippi. Certain St. Cloud.
Okay.
There's no kayak fish for smallies, and that's a blast. But that takes a whole another level of patience.
Absolutely.
Kayak on a river.
You have the pedals.
Things can go. Yeah, just the paddle.
That's tough.
If I did that, I would lose my rod, lose my phone,
would
lose my... And the paddle would be down the river.
agree with that. So back to the trailing class.
Yeah, let's circle back to
Yeah.
that. So the trailing class, to me, this is going to be a really cool opportunity to really educate women in the community about something that men can't even do right.
Yeah.
Let's be very honest.
Yeah,
It's
4th of July weekend, not pretty.
yeah, yeah, it was tough. It was a lot of challenges out there. Yeah.
Show letting us use their marina. They're closed on Sundays, and so that'll give us kind of a private space to
Oh,
use that launch. I don't. You guys know this, so we wanted people to bring their boats, but we only have 2 people bringing their boats, so we still need a couple boats. But the nice thing is, we have members who like to fish with other people that don't have their boat, so it's nice to give them the opportunity also, so they can be a good boat mate or
Yeah.
good partner to their friend who has a boat.
hmm.
And learn how to, what it takes to launch it, and maybe they'll be the one to know how to, run it back onto the trailer or learn how to
Yeah.
back it up.
And sometimes, like you said, the person teaching you is not the best person to teach you.
Yeah,
So
your
just
friend
listening to
finds
somebody
it.
else, I mean, I'm a teacher, but like just listening to somebody else say the same thing that you've heard 10 times, but it's coming from somebody else's
Yeah.
mouth, or it
Yeah.
just said a little differently. You're like, oh yeah, okay, I get it now.
And it's hard, like, I'll admit it, it's hard for me to teach it because I just feel it comes natural.
Yeah.
And so for me, I have a hard time verbalizing that.
Mm.
And so that's where I struggle with teaching how to back up a
Yeah.
trailer.
It is. It's challenging because we're very just human beings naturally are very egocentric, ethnocentric, and like this is the way I've learned it, man. This works for me. Yes, for you,
Right.
for you.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
for me, I don't understand that. And well, not that I don't understand it, but it works for the person,
Yeah.
and it's everyone learns differently. People. I'm a visual person. I got to see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you show me a diagram, like okay, cool, but I need to do it. You
And
know
if
what I
you
mean?
show me how to do it,
Yes,
like,
yes, me too.
right?
Yeah, but if you give me an instruction video or like if I had to read it, I'm like, nah, man,
No.
no, I can't do it,
See, I
man.
need to do it all. I need
You
to
need
see
all-
it. I need
I'm
to
more
do
like
it
Lori and I are
without
the
any
same.
judgment.
Just let me tell me, hey, you
No.
idiot, not like that. Oh, not left, no, right. Like okay, that's how I learned. That's how my dad taught me.
Mhm.
Especially when I learned how to drive. Oh my god, I was terrified. I was white knuckling it the whole time. I was in a parking lot with no one around me. But yeah,
Yeah. It's just practicing without any pressure, any
judgment.
judgment,
right.
and
Right.
just, I mean, rarely do you go to a boat launch that's closed and you get to just practice.
And one of the things that I feel is like so critical in making sure you're successful is setting yourself up when you're pulling up to make sure that you're not like this, that you pull in
Jackknifed
straight.
or whatever.
You might have to back up another 10 feet, 20 feet, but at least you're straight.
At least you're straight. Yeah.
And it gives you, a higher percent of success rate than
Yeah.
jackknifing it and trying to, back it up like this. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
Lots of times. Yeah.
And we're also going to talk about the checklist on what you do when you get to the boat launch and where you
Yes.
do it. And I mean, I had actually 2 years ago, my husband dropped me off. We put our boat in. I'm sure I'm the one that put the plug in.
Hmm.
I don't know why they have so many holes. Plug in. It says plug in. So thankfully some friends came by. Corey and Christine came by, and so I went down to the dock, and I'm like, boy, my boat's filling up with water. What's going on? And then I realized the plug was in the wrong.
Oh.
I actually didn't know at that point. So we thought we have a limited time to get this boat back to the launch and back out. When I got it out,
Yeah.
I put the plug in the wrong hole.
Hmm.
So
And that can happen.
Yeah, it can happen.
I know we
Yeah.
had a plug fail once.
Oh,
We launched at Hidden Falls
On the river,
on
yeah.
the river, and he launched, and all of a sudden my feet were wet when I called you, and I was like, you gotta come back.
Yeah. And I have a bass boat, so it's not a deep V. Those deep V it takes longer,
Right.
you know. But on that hull, it's a flatter hull, so like all of a sudden water comes fast and
My feet,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah. We hit the bilge pump and
yeah,
put it back on
it's
the
okay.
yeah.
It's
It
it,
happens.
it's kind of important to have an extra plug in your boat.
Oh yeah, we have
Yeah.
yeah,
You know,
100%. You have to
yeah,
always, and that's something that we can talk about in future podcasts because I always tell Diana like I always have what of everything two
Like 3
or
keys.
three. Yeah,
multiple
exactly.
keys.
Yeah, always have different stuff because you just never know. I have, and I mean,
It's extra
socks and yeah, it's not for me. You know, it's for somebody else. You know what I mean? I learned that through like just fishing. I used to ask, "Hey man, why do you have this gas can here?" Yeah, just in case somebody runs out of gas. I'm like, "Oh, it's not for him.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Right.
It was for somebody else because that stuff happens.
Yeah.
It happens, you know, and it's scary because you're out there. I saw a God, it was an Instagram. There was a guy kayaking, and there was a little boy in the middle of the lake.
Ah,
Did
that
you see
was.
that?
It's
Oh,
so
it's
scary, yes.
terrible. And he's like, "All right, buddy, hold on, I'm gonna come towards you." And the kid was just, and he grabbed him, and I was like, "Oh my God." I mean, I felt like I wanted to jump
Yeah,
in there and
look at
save that
checking
kid.
him.
Yeah, he was
But
fine, but how scared that kid
yeah,
was.
He was in the.
He was in the
yeah,
middle of the lake.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, he was just
Yeah.
8 years, maybe 7, 8 years old or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was just a little kid, man. It was terrible. But, you
Something
know,
happened to his dad's boat or something. Didn't get to him. I can't
really,
remember. Yeah.
yeah, I don't remember the
But
story.
maybe the checklist is so important
Yeah.
about what to do and
Yes.
where to do it for the etiquette. And
Routine, too. Routine,
Yeah.
yeah, routine. And
yeah, you
etiquette
never know
and
the,
boat
the
etiquette.
minute you're out of routine, we miss something.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
the straps. I had a friend last summer who she let her teenage son drive the boat, and they went down to Burnsville and got on Crystal Lake there and up on Highway 100. Back, boat fell off.
Oh no.
They didn't have the straps on. Wind shot. Nothing on it. He forgot, but like,
Oh, that's terrifying.
Wait.
here's this boat on Highway 100.
I always do. There's 5 things I got to do,
Hmm.
right? And regardless if I have 5 things, like I'm
Mhm.
making sure that I'm doing at least 5 things. Is the plug, the straps, the strap on the winch on front,
Mm-hmm,
Mhm.
mm-hmm,
making sure the key is out of the boat, and
mm-hmm.
making sure one thing is to make sure that I put the windshield back and I
Ah.
closed it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and every boat is
The
different. Yeah,
motor up.
Yeah,
The motor,
that's motor up.
I always have this mental of did I do everything?
Yes, yeah. You'll see people in taking their boat off the ramp, and all of a sudden you're
Yeah.
because their trim is down.
Yep.
I was like,
Mhm.
hey, those
Yeah.
people
Oh,
screaming.
words. Imagine
Yeah,
how.
yeah.
Yeah.
God, man, that's
What words would come out of
Yeah.
your mouth?
And
man.
those props are so expensive now. I mean, you just got to make sure you're taking care of everything.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's crazy how
Yeah.
my buddy Steve Robertson was Deke, one of our pro staff, was
Mhm.
telling us a story that he has a nice Lund boat, real nice boat, and he was with his partner, and they were backing up the boat, and he has a Dorado as well. He has roller bunks, roller on the
That's what
trailer.
we have.
Yeah, and that's fine.
I think they make
It's there's
They
pros and
can be.
cons. There's pros and cons. We
Mhm.
have bunks on
Yeah.
our trailer, and I don't know who said what, but as he was backing up the boat, he said his gal said something.
Yeah.
Hey, and he's like, yeah, it's fine. So she hit the Dorado. Well, they weren't even close to the water. Kind of close. Boat came off. Boom! Hit the launch. Hit the concrete. Kind of was in the water, and they pushed it in, and it was fine. But the hull just got just
Sure.
mangled. And good thing,
Hopefully, they will stop some of this.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah. There's stories, man.
With my Dorado, I had an issue with it. And I had brought it back. I won't say to where, but multiple times they said, "No, you're fine, you're fine." Well, what was happening was I would get up to the boat launch,
Mhm.
and I always would take the safety strap off or the safety chain off, and then I would unclick it and back the boat in.
Yeah, sure.
But I was partly way in the water, and when I did that, and I immediately hit the gas to go in reverse again,
Yeah.
the boat would go. I actually had to swim after my boat one time.
That happened to me.
Yeah, and you know what it's from? I finally figured it out, and that friend of mine that sometimes helps me with my boat, the handle. If you take off the handle when you're traveling, that eliminates the problem because
Mm.
the handle is weight.
Yeah.
When you're going over bumps,
It'll trigger. It'll trigger basically the what holds your pin in. Yeah.
and so I started taking my handle off after when I'm trailering. No more issues.
Mm.
But
That's never happened to us, but that's
multiple.
interesting.
I mean, I had one guy tell me, "Well, you really gotta ram that thing up there. Make your truck shake." And I'm like, "No, that's not the solution here."
Yeah, we're not gonna hit the truck, right?
Yeah. So yeah, when you're
Mhm.
trailering, you should take off the arm for your throttle, and you'll never have that issue.
Mm. And
Yeah.
that's your wham tip of the week.
Right.
Right there. Wow.
Yes.
Cool.
All those little things are just so important.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are. They are very important. Yeah, this is going to be a great event. So let's go over the details. So we are looking at Sunday, April 21st. Location is Wayzata.
Is it Marine?
Wayzata
And that
Marine.
butts up right next to the Maxwell launch on the
Yes.
Minnetonka.
Yeah.
So we have kind of a backup plan just in case.
Mhm.
When we planned this, the weather was in the 60s, and we were going to be moving all those boats in their parking lot into the water. I think we'll still be good, but if not, we can
Yeah.
And
jump
what
over to that.
and what time? What,
2 to
2 to
Yeah,
5?
2 to 4, I think.
2 to
yeah.
4.
2
Okay.
p.m.
2 to
to
4.
4 p.m.
With fishing afterwards
Yes.
and before
Yeah.
if you want.
We'll probably be there early. Well, actually, we have an event that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's okay. We'll have our boat and it'll be fun.
We'll get there. Set up the cones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. No, this is awesome. Yeah, yeah, it's going to be a great event. How could a couple of things? If you have women out there that are interested in joining WHAM, what are some things that they can do to join? They have what you guys have a website and stuff.
Yep.
Okay, so just go to straight.
WomenAnglersMinnesota.com.
Cool.
Yep.
Follow
Yep.
the prompts.
Super easy to join.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
We have a public Facebook page too, Women
Mhm.
Anglers of Minnesota, and on Instagram. That's kind of more, I don't want to say business-like, but you don't see the interaction on
Yeah.
that page. You're not allowed to post on it. So it's just us putting out information.
Sure.
But yeah, you can go and register online, and we'd love to have members. We'll welcome you in. And I know that whoever joins, if you put yourself out there, you'll learn a ton and make some new friends. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we invite your current new members and members from WHAM to join us on Sunday, April 21st. They want to volunteer, right? Some of the ladies want to volunteer.
Yeah.
If you're a woman and you're new to angling or interested, how can they reach you? Like just on the Facebook page? Is there any um, other platforms or just through the
Email.
email?
I
Okay.
think there's a contact information
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
website.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And we could probably put it on the
Yeah, we should.
yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
we'll hook it up when we edit this podcast. We'll put it on there. Yeah, we'll put it on there and stuff. Oh, this has been great. I guess just to conclude, we can stay here and drink beer and
Yeah.
talk fishing all night. Yes, we do have a basketball game to watch. But Lori, we'll start with you. What's last message, or what are the messages that you'd like to give to the women out there that are interested in angling or um, have similar experience as you growing up? Like Diana, like a lot of women that they were fishing for a little bit, but it was mostly like my dad took my brothers out fishing more than he took me. What advice would you give them, and how can they not necessarily overcome that, but how can they I guess what advice would you give them to be like, hey, that's in the past. Join Wham. We have a safe space for women anglers.
I would say, like, even today when you were talking about, your buddy telling you to take just one pole out,
Yes.
maybe two as a backup.
Yes.
Oh my God, so I just learned something new today. Like
Well, thank
fishing,
you.
you can learn
Yes.
so much from anybody
Hmm.
that is in the industry or is just like, you know what? Um, like I feel like that is the biggest reason is you can learn so much from the individuals in the group
Hmm.
and from people that you meet. I mean, I'm super excited that I met you.
Oh, thank you.
And
So am I.
yeah,
Both of you
so
ladies. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
going to be fun. I'm going to learn from you and Diana
Mhm.
and that's really if you're wanting to learn a little bit more about fishing, even if you don't have boats or poles or anything, you can join WAM and still be have it be a benefit to you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think look at the Facebook page and think, if she can, I can.
Hmm.
I think that some people think that, we both did fish when we were kids, but fishing is not rocket science. You can learn it at any age,
Yeah.
and be very successful. It's just putting in time, or there's lots of ways to learn. And it's just a great way to get out, enjoy nature. I always like to say there's hope in every cast.
Hmm.
And it's, I think, just a wonderful pastime that people can have a passion. Like, our athletic years are over, kind of.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, and
You
Yeah.
were fishing, you can
You can
fish,
go
and
for
we've got
Yeah.
numbers that are in their 90s.
yeah,
Really?
you're participating in stuff.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's just a great hobby.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. They get free, that through the state, they get free fishing licenses after you're 90 some years old. I forgot the exact age. Maybe 90.
Well, we give a free membership if you're 70 or older.
Yep.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hmm. Cool.
I know one of the things we have coming up is last year we started a women's opener event.
Hmm.
It's on opener. It's just for women. We did it up here in Crystal Lake and
Yeah.
Evansdale. So I'll make sure to post that invite
Oh yeah.
anyone
Yeah.
and everyone and give away a free rod and reel and
We give away a lot of stuff.
some
And
other
this year it
stuff.
lands on the same day, but the DNR has taken them on fishing.
Hmm.
And so this year it pairs up with opener. So
Hmm.
a woman doesn't need to have a license that day either.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And I didn't know that.
Yeah.
We don't need licenses for our events either, but just kind of. But yeah, we had about, I don't know, it was raining last year, but like 30 people showed
Yeah.
up and
30 women, yeah.
they all got a rod and reel and learned how to cast and I mean
Really?
some basics about fishing. But
Yeah.
just to
Basics.
include more women in everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And what's interesting about that event is I pitched it to my women pro staff, and they're first like, I don't know, it's on Mother's Day, this, and I was like, no, we're doing it. It's gonna work. You'll see. And not that they were skeptical, but they were like, it's Mother's Day, and I was like, we're gonna do it. It's gonna work. And when we put out that post, I mean, it filled up in a day,
That's a good turn.
in a day or two. Like it was
a good
crazy.
turnout, especially because it was raining.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was not the best. No, it was not.
But,
No, it was not. But yeah, so we have the women's opener,
Yeah.
and it's a big shout out to the Rotary Club. They this year they really came through with some funding for us.
Still.
Rodnersdale for thank you, Mr. Benshoof, Jim Benshoof. Big hug and yeah, Jimmy. Well, we call him Jim. Jim, Mr. Benshoof. He likes when I call him Jim. That's why I call him Mr. Benshoof, but he likes Jim. Uh, and yeah, so him and the Rotary Club, big shout out to them for supporting this. But with the funds, with the grant money, where we buy rod and reel tackle box combos and we give them away. We also give away gift cards to Teresa's Mexican Restaurant, Ace Hardware. There's a bunch of
Local places like
Frankie's Pizza,
Yeah.
so all kinds of really cool stuff. Raffles. So
If you go to the community outreach page on WHAM, we could probably sponsor you for, a rod and reel and give you money to buy one for that event.
yeah,
It's a women's event.
yeah, we can look into something like that. We can talk about that after the show. Yeah, it'd be cool. But that's awesome. Well, this has been a lot of fun. This has been awesome. Thank you so much. Lori, Michelle, thank you for doing this. It's an honor having you here, and we hope that we are able to help your message, your mission, and get more women into fishing, into the outdoors. This is going to be it's
Yeah.
great. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thanks.
having
Yeah,
us.
yeah,
Nice
thank
meeting
you.
you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. All right, that concludes. All right, folks, stay tuned for our next podcast, which will be number 6. I have no idea who's going to be on, but it'll be somebody fun. We'll figure it out. Until next time, thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Salud. Salud, everyone.
Cheers.
Salud.